to be a great day because it says we're going to be live on Telegram. So I don't know what that looks like, but if you want to join us on Telegram, you can join us on the Lillian McDermott, the classroom. And I don't know how else I can put a link there. Robert, you could put a link on the conversation, but today we're doing something new. We are going on Telegram, so please text and tag and join us on Telegram. If you want to be on Telegram, you can also join us on whenyouneedafriend.com. Today we have a great class with Dr. Russell Jaffe. It's been a while since he's been on. I'm going to start the recording for BitChute and Odyssey. Here we go. So like I said before, it is time to learn a different and new way to prevent, to understand how your body works, what it reacts to, what it doesn't. So fasten your seatbelt because we're going to get in the moment. And what the best way to get in the moment is to dance. And fasten your seatbelt and let's continue to learn together. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear. Bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace inner truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, it's been a couple years since Dr. Russell Jaffe, MD, Ph.D., has been in the classroom. And the last time I did this, it was right before I had my explantation surgery. And I wanted to see where my body was at and where it's at today. We're doing this again with Dr. Jaffe. We're also learning about, what if you eat something and you don't have a reaction, but you still have inflammation in your body? Where is the inflammation coming from? Could there be a test that you can do that will tell you that you have a delayed reaction? This is something no test captures, but when you do this test, you can find out whether or not you are sensitive to moderately, mildly, strongly, and it gives you suggestions. And so I am just grateful that Dr. Jaffe started his career very much classically trained, allopathically trained, knew exactly what to do through the medical system. But then all of a sudden, he decided to disprove natural medicine, holistic, acupuncture, all these wonderful things that have been around longer than the allopathic community has been even thought of being around. And by the time he was done with his research, he joined us. He became part of the team that is for nature and God. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Russell Jaffe is here to do just that. Welcome back, Dr. Jaffe.
Thanks for having me back.
I could start talking about your credentials, but it would take probably the entire show to do that. Why don't you share a little bit about your background and what you would like our audience to know before we get started about your credentials?
Well, I studied at Boston University, received an MD and a PhD in biochemistry, physiology, and general medical sciences. Then I matriculated through the Public Health Service and was appointed to the National Institutes of Health, which is, if you're in my profession, where you want to be. I was at the clinical center for 19 years seniority. Near the end of that time, I became aware that I was ignorant. And not only was I ignorant, there were a lot of very, very nice, smart people at NIH who knew the answer, but they didn't know the question. So they had a conclusion out of context. I went to debunk acupuncture and Chinese medicine, and I spent 7 years studying with Qing Wu, and then we translated the Nanqing, which is one of the three classics of Chinese medicine. So I had that under my belt by then. I also had a few years with Ramamurti Mishra studying yoga and Ayurveda, which is a very different system.
Mhm.
But he had written the textbook of yoga psychology, and he had written commentaries on Patanjali Sutras. He was the outstanding medical leader of his time. And he ran Ananda Ashram and many other centers around the world. I went to debunk him. He got my attention. He pointed out that I was ignorant, but I was not stupid. And so if I studied, I could correct my ignorance. And then I met a monk. A monk. There are many in the Buddhist tradition. There are many monks. In the Christian tradition, there are many monks. In the Jewish tradition, we don't have monks. Okay. So I meet a monk who knows a color healing system. He knows how to use color to heal in a non-invasive way.
Wow.
And so I went to him and I said, I'd like to study your system. He said, okay. This was on Sunday. On Tuesday, there was a knock on my door. This was a bachelor apartment, a 2-bedroom bachelor apartment in Greenbelt, Maryland, because I didn't spend much time at home. I spent time at my lab, which is what you did. If you were at NIH, you were always in your lab. Okay. So there's a knock on my door, and I open the door, and he's standing there. Bhante Dharmawara, this Cambodian Buddhist monk, is standing there, and he says to me, "You look surprised. Did you not invite me?" I said, "I did, but I thought you might call before coming." He said, "Why? You are here." That was a hint. He moved in that day. He moved into the second bedroom that day. So I had 30 years with him, studying his color healing system, but more importantly, studying the ways in which he evoked healing responses that defied Western medicine, because conventional Western medicine is reductionistic, mechanistic, etc., etc. And I am no longer reductionistic, mechanistic, or Descartesian. What does that mean? That means I've been cross-trained. So I can't get away by saying I don't know. There are lots of things I don't know, and I will be happy to tell you I don't know. But I do know certain things that I have been able to integrate. I do know certain things that allowed me to help found the American Holistic Medical Association in 1979. I was the first director of scientific affairs for the AHMA. And along the way, I have consistently learned that if you want to be well, you have to take action. Information is important, inspiration is important, but if you want to get well, you have to change your habits of daily living. I'm not talking about anything other than what you eat, drink, think, and do. It's a combination of all of that. You can eat yourself well or eat yourself sick. You can drink yourself well or drink yourself sick. You can think yourself well or think yourself sick. You can do the things that evoke healing responses or not. I want you to do the things that evoke healing responses. And yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain that I've been pretty well trained.
Yes, you have.
And what I have learned is that most doctors don't know. So you can't blame them. But when you ask them a question that they don't know anything about, very often they say something. Words come out of their mouth. But if you knew enough, you would know that they didn't know what they were talking about. Now, this is a big problem. This is a problem for me inside the medical profession, and I'm doing my best to educate physicians so that they will know the answers to these healing response questions. But if consumers get smart and they start asking their doctor for healing rather than treatment, I understand that medicines are designed to suppress symptoms. They are. I want you to address the causes so you don't need the medications to suppress the symptoms, because the symptoms will go away when the need resolves. So I work upstream at the level of cause. I don't work downstream at the level of symptoms.
That is so refreshing to hear. I was just texting one of my clients that I coach this morning because they were going to be going, they're in the process of discovery. And my first question is, just know that, there's so much confusion as you are getting all these diagnoses. These doctors can't take care of themselves, let alone you. You need to make sure that you are, take everything into consideration and ask them questions that will lead to the root cause, because that's what we want. We want the root cause. Most people are happy with just treating the symptom, and they don't know that they're just treating the symptom because they've been told that the doctor knows best. And that is further from the truth with some doctors, not all doctors.
No. The doctor knows best about certain things. The doctor
Correct.
knows best about their PDA, their personal digital assessment device. They know a lot about symptom reactive care. They know about pharmaceuticals that suppress symptoms.
That's
what
right.
they don't know is about prevention, about the cause rather than consequence. And I'm saying this as clearly as I can. You cannot expect to get an intelligent answer from an intelligent person who doesn't know.
Yeah.
And 3 hard words for any doctor to say are, I don't know. I think it's very important to be able to say, I know what I know what I don't know, and therefore I can tell you, I don't know about supplements, I don't know about lifestyle, I don't know about diet, I don't know about attitude, I don't know about mental exercises, mindfulness, relaxation, responses. I don't know.
Yeah.
But patients go to doctors expecting them to know.
That's
and
right.
then they ask questions, and some words come out of the doctor's mouth. But if you could record those words and you actually went through, you would reveal quickly that they didn't know what they were talking about.
Correct.
So on the one hand, they're saying strong things about subjects that they don't know. And on the other hand, they're not referring people to the lifestyle practitioners that could help them.
That's right. And it's interesting. And I've said this before, and this is not about a judgment. This is about protection. If you go to your doctor and they're overweight, they smoke, they are like, they have diabetes, or they have, they die of the same conditions they're diagnosing us for. Fire them. Go to a doctor that is taking good care of themselves, because if they take good care of themselves, they might have some better responses for you, some better solutions for you. It's no different than going to a morbidly obese, person that helps you work out at the gym, personal trainer. So you want to make sure that your doctor practices what they preach. Do as I say, not as I do, does not work today. And for those of you who are followers of the classroom, just know that do as I say, not as I do, that does not work. That does not work. Okay, so the first time that I did this lab, I don't think it was the 317. And by the way, there's a link in the description to Better Lab Test Now for this test that we're going to be discussing. And if you enter M3 Detox, you will get 10% off. But Dr. Jaffe said that if you go to the Better Lab Test Now, you enter M3 Detox, you'll get 10% off any of the labs that they have. So the first time I did this test, look at all the strong reactions, the moderate reactions, and then these are moderate food groups. Look at this. And then this is now after removing my implants. And this is the test that I just had now, which we have like 3 strong reactions, a few moderate reactions, and no sensitivities here. Now, this is long term. This means that when you eat something short term, you get hives or reaction. This is not that kind of test. This is a test that is, you're eating it, and I've heard people say, I'm not allergic to anything, and they're swollen, their cheeks are red, and they may not know that 3 days later or 4 days later. So explain how this test works. And we're talking about the LRA Comprehensive 317.
Well, LRA means lymphocyte response assay. So we do a cell culture, which when we started in 1983 was very sophisticated and advanced. We have now done 100,000 cases. We've done 30 million cell cultures very accurately. So we are reproducible in a field that is rarely reproducible. Mm-hmm. And yes, at the high priest level of my profession, I have presented this information and gotten a wow from the audience, which means you get precise information about what to do and then what to do about those reactions. Now, we couldn't quite see all the items, but you have shifted substantially from foods, which are less a problem, to certain chemicals, which are a problem. Mm-hmm. In fact, we have more reactions to chemicals today than we had 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So yes, many people don't know about us yet, and we're glad to communicate. But the important thing is we have 100,000 cases and 30 million cell cultures under our belt, and we test within 3% accuracy, which means very accurate. If you have 3% reproducibility on your blood sugar or your blood sodium, that's pretty good. To do a cell culture with that precision, unique.
Very good. Very well.
So
After knowing you,
I took my background from NIH and I applied it to the real world. And now it's available widely.
now it's a shame that not all NIH members are created equal, because life would be a lot different if we had true institutions looking out for us.
Well, let me jump in on that, if I may. I don't think it's the people. I think it's the system.
Okay.
The leadership of NIH are extremely sophisticated, bright, etc. people, without question. But they were brought up and conditioned in a mental atmosphere that was reductionistic, mechanistic, Descartesian, and non-physiologic. I am a physiologist. I'm also a biochemist. So I'm supposed to know about life processes, which is called physiology. When I talk with colleagues, including and especially from NIH, and I do maintain good working relationships with NIH senior staff and the military medical school senior staff and other people that we can talk about who think I'm on the right track. They don't think I'm off track. But yes, we live in the 21st century and it's different. In fact, we have a book called How to Thrive in the 21st century because 80+% of people are just getting by. They're in survival mode. They are just getting by one day at a time, suffering the way you talk about, and they don't know that it can be 3 hours to 3 weeks after you get exposed to an antigen or a substance or a foreign matter until you get symptoms. Now, we should know about this. These are called Arthus reactions, serum sickness reactions, Schwarzman reactions. This goes back to the 40s and 50s. And if anything is before the internet, it really doesn't exist anymore. So we have to rediscover these same truths. I knew Schwarzman, I knew Arthus, I knew Jelen Coombs from the Coombs test and beyond. And what I do stands on their shoulders. I am grateful for what I learned at NIH, and then I graduated. And unfortunately, most scientists their plate is full without graduating.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, what I was saying is that the last time we did this together was before I did my explantation.
Right.
And you could see that there were foreign objects in my body, and it created more of a delayed reaction to more things that I have now. Now, according to your testing and your recommendations, after the blood is drawn and tested and all that, if I were to go 6 months without using these products, I can reintroduce them, or items, I can reintroduce them into my body again, and little by little. But how do I retest again? Is that what happens? How often should you retest?
The best case is you retest every 6 months, because it takes about 6 months for your new body to appear. It takes more than a week, more than a month. It takes about 6 months to make a change that is permanent. As you took action, you had an explant.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, you then nourished your immune defense and repair system so that it could recover from that foreign body.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's important. So we retest about every 6 months, because the day you start this health promotion program, you don't have perfect digestion. You don't have perfect metabolism. You have hormone disruptors. You have toxins in your body that need to get out of your body. You may not have enough of the good stuff to help the bad stuff get out of your body. So we have a 6-month plan. We retest every 6 months. And the goal is to have no reactions. I will tell you a quick story.
Okay.
A friend of mine contacts us, has our test. She's wheelchair bound because of MS, multiple sclerosis. She repeated our test in 6 months, and then in a year, and then 18 months and 2 years. And after 2 years, she sent me a postcard of herself rock climbing. Not just that she was out of the wheelchair, she was able to get back to physical activity that made her younger, not older. So yes, we have many, many examples of success, and yet still too many people don't know about us.
Yes. And so that you guys know, this tests for 166 foods, 28 molds, 28 additives and preservatives, 61 environmental chemicals, 20 Ph.D. and C additives, and 14 toxic metals and minerals. And these are toxic minerals and metals. So
like
that's
lead
what
and lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, nickel. You don't want any of them in your body. And if you have developed a hypersensitivity, you are exquisitely sensitive to small amounts of the remaining toxin.
So this doesn't test that it's in my body. It tests that I'm sensitive to it, right?
There's a separate test called the D-penicillamine provocation, which tests your urine for essential, that is necessary minerals, many, and toxic minerals, many, the amounts. We do not test for the amount. We test for the hypersensitivity. If you are hypersensitive to a metal like lead or mercury or cadmium, even a tiny amount will still evoke inflammation and repair deficit. So we work very hard to get the bad stuff out. We have a test that develops information and a plan for how to attack the causes, how to address the causes. But we separately have the D-penicillamine provocation for the amounts of bad or good stuff in your body, because it turns out when magnesium and zinc are low, lead, mercury, cadmium are high.
Now that's a test I wanted to take, because originally the reason why we came together is because of the mold, metals, and microbes. The M-Cube detox experience that we're doing started on September 27th. That's mold, metals, microbes from treatment to recovery with support. We meet every Tuesday night since September 27th all the way to December 13th, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we learn from the experts. It's been unbelievable how much we've learned about mold and metals and all of that. And so I originally thought that this was going to tell me how much active toxicity I had in my body, but instead it said what I was, if I was going to respond to it. So why would I need, because I didn't have any of those issues where I respond to them. So if I look at this, it doesn't tell me that I'm responsive to any of the molds. As a matter of fact, when I look at it, there's no reaction to all these things. So does that mean that if I'm exposed to these metals, I'm not going to respond right away, or how is it going to work? That I'm more tolerant of it?
That's a complicated question, but the short answer is, if you have any of the bad things in your body and you develop a hypersensitivity, which means a B cell and a T cell lymphocyte response, an immune response. If you develop an immune response, then you need our program to get not only the bad stuff out, but the good stuff in, so that you can recover from that immunotoxicity. That is separate, completely different from the amounts of bad stuff in your body. And that's why we have the D-penicillamine protocol, as well as the ELISA Act LRA.
Okay, so it's called D-penicillium protocol?
No, D-penicillamine. It sounds like penicillin, but it's not. D-penicillamine. Jayshree, Hona, any of my people can get you lots of information about this, but the point of the D-penicillamine provocative test is it measures in the urine the amount of good minerals like magnesium and zinc and other good minerals, but also the toxic minerals, the amount of them. So if you want to
love that.
Yes.
I would love to do that test. That's what I want. I want to know what's going on in my body. And this is what I encourage everybody to be their own MD, to be their own medical detective. So we can go to a doctor who may or may not be able to give you the answers, but what I want are solutions. And so that's why I turned to Dr. Jaffe before I had my explantation. Now that I've been exposed to toxic mold and possibly metals, who knows? But it's good to know how my system has adapted and gotten better since we last met, Dr. Jaffe. So who would be a good candidate to take the comprehensive 317?
Well, anyone who has, as you suggested, inflammation without explanation.
Inflammation without explanation. I like that.
Inflammation means repair deficit. Now, I'm a pathologist. I'm a doubly board certified pathologist. Pathologists came up with the concept of inflammation. 5 different kinds of suffering are related to inflammation. I can say this in Yiddish, English, and Latin. So
let's go with English. Let's go with
English. The question is, if I know how much of the bad stuff, and I know your immunotoxicity, can I design a program that in about 6 months will make you much better? And if you repeat the test every 6 months, will get you well. And this requires a health coach. I commend you for having weekly group sessions. One of the parts of our successful type 1 and type 2 diabetes study and our successful fibromyalgia study, one of the components, I think, was that we met with people every 2 weeks to answer their questions, to inform and inspire them to keep on keeping on. Mm-hmm. Because it takes a while to reverse the toxicity that took many years to come on. So we're eager to spread the word through health coaches and physicians. But unfortunately, most physicians are preoccupied trying to keep up with pharmacology and other aspects of symptom reactive care. So they should hire a health coach. They should have a health coach on their staff that can work with people, because it takes more than 15 minutes to explain
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I was on a plane not too long ago, and I was sitting next to a woman who was a doctor, and she was an eye surgeon. Now, I have some idea how much she makes a year. Trust me, she's well compensated, but you want the person operating on your eye to be very good. So I say, how much time do you get with each of your patients? She says, my business manager says I can't spend more than 10 minutes with any client.
Yeah.
I said, do you pay your business manager, or does your business manager pay you? She says, well, of course I signed the check. I say, what if you did 2/3 as many eye operations and therefore could spend more time with individuals to get better results? And she said, that's a good idea, which she followed through on. She actually changed her business manager.
She changed her business manager. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so it's wonderful to have like numbers. Like it's good to have numbers for the D pen, the
Penicillamine. Yeah.
D pen. I'm just going to call it D pen.
D-pen.
Okay.
All
Okay.
you
The
have to
D pen.
remember is D-PEN, D-pen,
Yeah.
and we'll get
D-pen.
you all the information.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. Okay. So with the D pen, does that share like where you're at in your numbers? Above, below, toxic, non-toxic? How
Well,
does it show?
interesting is, because we developed the depenicillin protocol, we actually tested 100 people to establish a healthy person's range. So we uniquely provide, with the results of the depenicillin provocation, comparison to what healthy people produce. That's very unusual. Most labs do analyses, but they don't tell you what the meaning of the meaning is.
Mhm.
We want you to know the meaning of the meaning, which means we have to know before we can tell you.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So before we get deeper into this, and if you guys have any questions, make sure you type in a Q, write your question down, and we'll get to it. We're not going to have, I didn't even ask Dr. Jaffe if he has time afterwards, but we're not going to be able to do the Teacher's Pet Corner. So ask your questions now, and we'll get to them right away. And remember, the link is in the description to the test that I took. Is called the Comprehensive 317. And if you enter M3 detox, or M3 detox, all capitals, you'll get 10% off the test. And that's a great help. I mean, any penny will help. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Jaffe and his team to make this affordable for everybody. And so I just want you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com. If you go to the Shop Now bag, you can also get there through there. You can click on the cube in the Shop Now bag, and it'll take you to all the stuff that we're talking about with mold. And this is the next segment that we're going to be talking about mold and how it manifests in the body with Dr. Jaffe. But for now, I want you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com. While you're there, please subscribe, like, and follow me in all the social medias. Right now, I don't know if we are live on Telegram. We were supposed to be live on Telegram. So I'm hoping that we are, and that we have a even new audience for the classroom. So grateful to Robert, who is just always doing some wonderful things for the classroom. Then like and follow me on all social media, including BitChute and Odyssey. Now you can go to Telegram, to the classroom and Telegram. You can go to my sponsor and support them the way that they're supporting the classroom. And you can also go back to that Shop Now bag. Every product that's there is Lilly approved. Lilly approved. Some are affiliates, some are not affiliates. I just want you to know what I absolutely love, what I use from head to toe, so that your process, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Not one size fits all. So you may or may not like these things, but I know I love them. And so I have that there so that it's convenient for you. Also, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom so that you can help us grow. As we're being censored, and I'm sure Dr. Jaffe could understand this terminology, we are being censored by the things that we're not allowed to say because they're considered misinformation. Then what happens is that my videos are being taken off. We're going to have to get creative. So it's required more money to run the classroom. So any donation of your time, your talent, your treasure, whether it's $1, $1,000 a month, a one-time donation, you know, like I said, every penny helps. We utilize every penny to help grow the classroom. So please consider being an enrolled student in the classroom, and I will greatly appreciate it. And today we have Dr. Russell Jaffe. You can find Dr. Jaffe at drrusselljaffe.com. And that's Jaffe is spelled JAFFE.com. If you are a follower in the classroom, you have that information in his link. And I'm going to go, you can find him at Eliza Act. You can find him at Dr.
You can find me many places, but the place that's easiest to find me is drrusselljaffe.com. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
From there, you can get to all of the other websites that we maintain.
Perfect.
We do a lot of work to get the information, inspiration, and accurate information out to the community.
Yes. And you've just recently finished another book called Healthy Bones, Joints, and Muscles for Life. Can you share a little bit about that book?
Well, yes, with my colleague, Dr. Susan Brown, we published about 10 years ago a review article that said if you calculate the amount of soda, tonic, and artificially sweetened beverages that a person has eaten, taken into their body, you can calculate their osteoporosis risk just on that.
Wow.
And the osteopenia risk and the sarcopenia, which is loss of muscle, goes along with it. So yes, we've come out with a book about healthy bones, joints, and muscles for life.
Yes.
Because we want you to be able to renew. No part of you is more than 10 years old. This notion of getting old means accumulating bad and not having enough good.
That's true.
So I'm at an age.
Simple.
I'm at a certain age. Chronologically, I look at my passport card or whatever, and I know how old I am. How old am I functioning? I am functioning as a 35 to 40-year-old. I am near twice that age. In fact, I'm more than twice that age. I've been saying this too long. The point
How old
is
are you now, Dr. Jaffe? Because I
76.
76. Very good.
I'm 76, and I will. January 1st is my birthday, and I will go on from there.
Very nice.
But the point is to function as a 35 to 40-year-old, which means I feel like a 35 to 40-year-old. I get out of bed in the morning exuberant about what today will bring, not feeling achy and pain and inflammation and what's called sorrows. Sorrows is a Yiddish word for trouble. I live this way.
Yeah.
It's very important, I think. If you're a scientist, you can do pure science and just let the science speak for itself, regardless of the meaning. Okay. But if you're a scientist who wants to make a difference in people's lives, you have to explain to them what the test means, when to do it and why, and most importantly, so what? Very often people get results of lab tests back from doctors, and they say to the doctor, what does this mean? And the doctor says, well, it's not good. Well, how not good is it? Well, we know it's not good. How not good is it? We don't really know that.
That's it. They don't know.
What do I do about this? Well, I have this or that or the other prescriptive solution to take away your symptoms, but getting to the cause, understanding what really is causing you to suffer, to be afflicted, that's the Buddhist word. I can communicate to most communities. If you talk to me about an Indo-Chinese refugee community, I can talk to them because they have more time than money. If you're affluent, as I tend to be, I have less time and more money. So which do you want? Do you want to accurately determine what's going on now and take action? Or do you want to work step by step by step? Either is fine. Mm-hmm. We have programs for people that have no money with a minimum of testing. But we still recommend the right things to do in general. if you want to know the right things to do in specific, in personal matters for you personally, you need the test. I'd have to be psychic. And being psychic, I have met a few people who might be psychic. They might really be very intuitive. They don't work for labs. I receive specimens and I report the results of those specimens accurately, reproducibly, specifically, and interpret them. Because if you don't tell people what the results mean, they can't get the benefit.
Yeah.
So yes, we have it all in an easy to digest, easy to assimilate, easy to use package, but it takes a coach. It takes someone to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hona was my coach. She called me. She was wonderful. And that last time, I think it was Jaya or Jay Shri or no, I don't know if she was the one that helped me.
I have a wonderful team. They all have strange names because they all come from different parts of the world. But every time you hear from Jay Shri or Hona or any of our team,
and wonderful.
It's like the first time they've ever said it.
Yeah.
I want them to do it that way. Because it's the first time you've heard it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Me, I tend to give the short version.
Yeah.
Because
I felt bad for Hona. I felt bad for Hona.
No, don't
questions.
feel bad. Her satisfaction is making you aware, making you understand what truly to do now and then, both immediately and for the future.
Yes, yes.
And it's taken quite a long time to get such a good team, but we do have such a good team. And that's why we continue to grow.
Yes, yes. So Marion has a question. It says, can patients request specific labs where their specimens are sent?
No. It would cost you a fortune to specify the lab for a variety of reasons. Now, Better Lab Test Now uses the best of the labs in the world. We do most of the tests in-house. Otherwise, we use the best available resource, Mayo Clinic or equivalent. If you want to specify the lab that receives the specimen, talk with the lab that receives the specimen, because it'll be too confusing otherwise.
Yeah, I wonder if she's asking if a patient can request their own lab. So if they go in there, order it themselves. And I don't know if that's what she means.
No, I may have misunderstood.
No. I read it the way it was supposed to be read, and you understood it the way I read it.
No, but
I'm wondering
more importantly, if you want to choose the lab tests you have done, go to betterlabtestnow.com.
Yeah, remember to enter D3 Detox to get 10% off. And so that's a great question. I love being able to just say, okay, this is the lab I want because this is what I need, and being able to receive it. And so I appreciate that, not having to go to a doctor to order it for me.
That's the point. We
get
can
an approval.
Get the test and the information and the results accurately without a doctor or with a doctor.
Yeah.
If you have your own health coach, that's fine. If you want to be your own doctor some of the time, that's okay. But I have a little caution. If you're well and you want to continue to be well, you can be your own doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're not well, I suggest you get a better doctor.
I think that's very, very logical. So, so I'm thinking that what the question may have been is, I can go to any lab to get the blood drawn.
You can go to any lab and get results, but the results may not have any meaning.
No, but the lab drawn. I have to get my lab drawn somewhere. I can't do it myself.
Different story. We have a national network of phlebotomy centers. We can have people come to your home to do the blood draw at home. We can have phlebotomy centers, blood drawing centers that you go to have the specimen taken. We work with these specimens, we work with these places so that they do correctly what needs to be done. It turns out different tests need different specimens. Mm-hmm. Well, we want you to have the right specimen for the right test.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's go back, because I if you guys have any questions, type in a queue and I'll read your question. I'll ask Dr. Jaffe. But the original reason, now I have everything in my body is natural. I don't have implants. I use products that are chemical free. I've completely changed. Even my shower has a filter. My entire house has a filter. I drink reverse osmosis water that's been re-ionized or re-mineralized. And so I've changed my life. But I've been exposed to mold, and I don't know if I've been exposed to metals. I did have a lot of mercury amalgams that I had removed back in 2013 or 12. So when I come to you, and if I were to say to you, Dr. Jaffe, I have been exposed, how does that affect my blood work? How does that affect my health? What can you share about that with your years of experience?
Well, my work is to teach doctors how to do this. I don't have any private practice of my own. But what I do know is which test measures what. Because I'm a laboratorian. I'm supposed to know from the laboratory what the test means. Very often clinical doctors are very good clinical doctors. They care about their patients. They care about the outcomes. They try to do their best, but they have no idea the difference between a serum potassium and a plasma potassium turns out to be critical at certain times. The difference between serum magnesium and ionized calcium turns out to be important from time to time. There are many details that should be left to those of us who are laboratorians to communicate to the health coach or the physician in question what they should say or ask of their client. So I work at a meta level. I don't have any private practice because I don't have time to. I hear the results of our plan from the clinicians and the health coaches that use them. And the results are spectacular. Unexpected, unprecedented. These are words that people who know better use routinely about what we recommend and what we do because we get to the causes, not just to the consequences. We get to the repair deficit, not just the inflammation.
So when you guys sent me my what I need to do for myself, and let me pull up my results here.
Right.
I have been you guys offer a rotation diet. So on here, it doesn't say if I've been exposed to mold, but based on...
We don't know what you have breathed, what you have been exposed to, what you might have drunk or drinking. We don't know. We know what your body is immune reactive to, immunoreactive. That is critical and rarely tested, but it's different than amount.
There are a lot of supplements in the recommended. They're recommended supplements. Are you recommending that I take all of these supplements? Because I'd be taking pills all day.
This is where the health coach or the physician comes in. We tell you all the things that you might need. We don't know how much zinc is in your diet. But the health coach and the physician hopefully does.
But if I take the D-pen, the D-pen test.
The D-pen provocation will tell you what your mineral status is, good minerals and bad minerals.
Okay. And last night,
if your magnesium is low or your zinc is low or your copper is high, then you can take action.
Yeah. Do you know Dr. Lee Cowden?
I know Lee very well.
Okay. So Dr. Lee Cowden is co-hosting the M-Cube Detox experience with me. He actually is more than a co-host. I tell you, we rely on him a lot, but we also have other teachers that come in. And so last night, Dr. Cowden told us that another way of getting rid of metals in the body that are harmful metals, heavy metals, toxicity, is to increase our deficiencies. So he said that once we increase our deficiencies, let's say we're deficient in zinc or we're deficient in magnesium, by increasing that, it will push the metals away. What can you say about that?
Well, that would be true if people had a perfect digestive tract.
Okay.
Very often the people we're talking about have impairments in their stomach in their small intestine, in their large intestine, and until those are corrected, what he recommends, which is generally good, will fail.
So what do you recommend?
For example,
We got about 5 minutes. Okay.
I can do this in 2 minutes.
Awesome. Awesome.
You need vitamin D.
Yes.
Vitamin D is a neurohormone. It's not a vitamin. You need vitamin D. You need vitamin D to control cell proliferation. This is very, very important in the body. But according to Dr. Mike Hollick, who's Dr. Sunshine, 40 to 60 million Americans do not absorb vitamin D from their gut. Therefore, swallowing vitamin D doesn't matter. They should take drops under the tongue to bring their vitamin D level to 50 to 80. I hope that Dr. Cowden pointed out that the healthy vitamin D level is 50 to 80. In every case of every test, there is a healthy range and there is a usual range. The usual range is deficient, the healthy range is sufficient. I want you to have sufficiency of all of these things, but I want you to remember that you may not be absorbing any of the vitamin D or A, B, C, D, E, or minerals that you're taking. So you could be taking the perfect formula, but your intestines have enough enteropathy, atrophy, and digestive impairment that you don't really absorb them, they just pass through.
And how can we repair the gut?
Aha! We repair the gut by getting to the base of the problem. Digestive aid for the stomach, prebiotic fiber, probiotic bugs, and symbiotic recycled glutamine. We pioneered the recycled glutamine, we pioneered the digestive aid, we recommend probiotics and prebiotics in abundance. We happen to have the most active undigested, pre-digested fiber. We happen to have 10 or more organisms in meaningful amounts that are all alive. Most probiotics that you buy in the store are dead. There's actually a company that made a virtue out of dead bugs. No, dead bugs are not good for you. Live bugs are good for you. That's kind of logical. So in all of these situations, I would add to Dr. Cowden's comments that you need a health coach or a knowledgeable, smart physician who studies this. They did postgraduate education. What I say is I didn't reject anything from NIH or that I had received from them. I graduated.
You're good. You're good. I am just so grateful to you, Dr. Jaffe. It's been wonderful to reconnect with you. I know that there's so many different topics that we can talk about. I remember the first time I met you, we talked for 2 hours nonstop, and we went from one topic to the other, the next. So I would love to maybe do a follow-up. Maybe we can have me do the
that would be fun. I would
love that. Let's make that happen.
Your specific questions, as well as the questions that your audience might have,
yes.
And I'll do my best to answer them. And if I don't know, I will tell you I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, so far, I have not heard anything you don't know, because you have studied and you have this ability to explain it in a way that's very understandable, very clear. And I really appreciate that.
I think that's a very important point. If you really understand the subject, you can explain it to anyone. Einstein said you can explain it to a barmaid. What he meant was someone who's not sophisticated. I agree with that. When you don't understand the explanation, it's not your fault. It's the fault of the person communicating, because very often people know half of the answer and they try to obscure the other half of the answer. And I want to get into both.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad that, although the original intention was something totally different, I'm glad to be able to go back and look, this is me before my explantation right here. So look at all this right here.
Look at how troubled that was and how much you didn't know without that testing that was causing problems. So yes, you needed the explant, but you also needed the program.
And this is now.
For example, that's magnificent.
That is now. And right now I'm doing a detox. I'm trying to kill off whatever is in my body, getting my stomach, my gut in balance, and doing all those things. I know that Dr. Jaffe, you support an alkaline nature,
I do.
alkaline,
I
and we could
recommend
probably do a
nature's.
show on that too.
No, we should.
Yeah.
Nature's alkaline way, which is physiologic, is completely different than what many people say on the web. Many people talk about being alkaline, etc., and they're chemists. Okay. There's a reason why the chemistry department is on the main campus and the biochemistry department is on the medical campus. I'm a biochemist.
That's right. That's right. Well, I am so grateful to you, Dr. Jaffe. If somebody were to walk in right now and, let's say, okay, so it's time. It's time. Okay,
Be well.
everybody.
Be well. Be well.
The link is in the description. Go to Better Lab Test now. Make sure you put the M3 detox, all capital, so that you can get your 10% off. Dr. Jaffe, you are a joy. I am so grateful that we've reconnected after 2 years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Russell Jaffe wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
Ever.
Good job. Good job.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for watching today. We will see you tomorrow with Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's going to be in the classroom to talk about the body code November 5th and